headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's the Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Open phones here at 888-825-5225. Thank you for joining us, America. Our latest numbers reveal that there's about 22 million of you out there. Thank you so much. We're honored. We appreciate that. We are here to serve you. 888-825-5225. Mark is with us in Knoxville. Hey, Mark, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Better than we deserve, sir. How can we help?
I am self-employed. I'm the only employee. I have been for about 25 years, always filed as sole proprietor. And my brother is telling me I need to switch to C Corp. I'll save money, but he can't really explain to me why. And when I tried to look it up, I don't know if I can, since it's just me with no employees. So is it something I can do? And if so, should I do it?
You can do it, and you should not do it. And you should not take any more accounting advice from your brother.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you do want to, the only reason for a sole proprietor like yourself to incorporate or to open an LLC would be to risk manage, meaning, what do you do? What kind of business is it?
It's auto detailing.
Okay. So if someone was walking past where you were auto detailing, they tripped over the hose and broke their face, okay? And they said, oh, this guy looks rich, we're going to sue him. Well, you have two options. And number one, you'd have insurance that would pay him for his broken face because it was your fault. Your hose tripped him, I guess. I don't know how the world works today, but I reckon that's how it happens, right? And the second thing is, if your business assets, the things that your business owns, are owned by an LLC, a limited liability company, or a sub-S corporation, the only person that they could sue would be the company that owned the hose, which isn't you. It's your company. Your company's assets consist of your tools, probably, right? And whatever cash you have in the company checking account. So they could sue you and get all of that stuff, but they couldn't come after your personal home, your personal checking account, because it wasn't you that owned the hose that tripped them. It was this company over here that you own.
Okay.
So it's what we call risk management. There's no tax benefit at all for a sub-S or an LLC because 100% of your profits pass straight through and land on your personal return, and you get taxed on it exactly the same way you would if you didn't have this. And you can write off your business expenses as a sole proprietor exactly the same way. Personally, what I would tell you to do is talk to your insurance broker, get a good business insurance policy that covers some liability if someone tripped over your hose, and I wouldn't bother to incorporate. The reason I wouldn't is it's going to cost you to incorporate or to build the LLC, and then you got to file a tax return on that entity every year in addition to your own tax return. So you get this bill from your tax preparer for producing this. The only reason you would want to do this is if you have a large target on your butt. Now, are you worth over $1 million personally?
No.
Okay. Then if somebody might want to find some excuse to come after you, then you'd have a target on your butt. Then you might want to do this. But your business isn't of enough size that somebody's probably going to go lick their chops and go, oh, I'm about to get rich here.
Okay.
And Mark,
I have general liability business insurance.
Then you're fine.
I guess that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What he's saying is that he was also a sole proprietor, but he switched to the C Corp because he says it's going to save him money, something to do with Social Security or something. I don't know exactly.
You can write off the Social Security portion as an expense. That is an addition, and you do that with a sub-S as well. A C Corp, you get taxed twice. The corporation pays taxes, and then when it pays you, you pay taxes again. So a C corp is asinine for a small business owner because you get taxed twice. I've got a bazillion LLCs, and I have one S corp. I don't own a single C corp, and I don't own anything anymore. Everything is now in some entity's name other than mine. Even my cars are in something else's name. I don't actually personally own anything because I'm a walking target.
I see. And so you're saying that I should either do S corp just to have the liability savings, or just stay where I'm at with my general liability insurance.
Right. You can. He's actually right. You can write off a portion of your Social Security as a business expense, but it amounts to, it's not gonna save you enough in taxes to pay you back for the attorney fees to build the stupid thing or your tax preparer fees to file the extra filing every year. It isn't worth it.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it. You've got 99% of the same write-offs that an S corp has. I wouldn't fool with it. I don't think you've got the risk management issue, and there is no write-off issue. And C corps are double taxed. No, never do that. The only time you do a C corp is if you were building something to take it public and sell it to some other big corporation or something. There might be some advantages then, but for the normal person like you and me operating our own small business, no way, never a C corp.
So just stay sole proprietor, keep up my general liability insurance, and just leave it like it is.
That's what I'd do. Keep your life simple, man.
Okay. That's what I needed.
Yeah, good question. Thank you for calling in. This comes up a lot with the Entree Leadership Group, the small business folks that we coach and counsel all the time. We hear this same thing that comes up. Everybody's looking for some kind of tax dodge, and they think that the rich have some tax dodge that regular people don't have, and they don't.
That is good to know. And I think it's interesting that his brother brought this up after he's been in business for 25 years. Like, Mark's been doing a good job keeping up with everything and following through. And it was very interesting that his brother felt that now was the important time to have an opinion.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's, the only, so if your business is small, you would never do it, number one. If you're, unless you have a large thing. So, for instance, let's say you're worth $2 million and you decide you want to open an art studio. Well, you might want to put an LLC over that because, again, if somebody trips on the threshold, falls, or whatever the scenario is that somebody decides they're going to sue you, and everybody's, not everybody, but too many people in our litigious society are looking for a free ride or a free ticket. And you've just got to do risk management, protect yourself as you start building wealth. The other thing you can do, guys, once you get on liability issues, once you get up over $500,000 to $1 million net worth, you can pick up an umbrella policy for about $300 a year for $1 million, and it covers that much more. This is The Ramsey Show. I say it all the time. If you're a business owner and you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. And when markets are shifting, it's even more important. You've got to know where you stand so you make your next move the right move. And you don't have to be in the dark here. Over 31,000 businesses, including my team at Ramsey, know their numbers because they use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control of your financials, planning, budgeting, and inventory so you can manage risk, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Having everything in one place has saved my team hours each week since we made the switch to NetSuite. NetSuite is a game changer. So head on over to netsuite.com/Ramsey to get a product tour today. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey. I pretty much would do Christmas year-round. I love Christmas. I love Christmas time, traditions. We've got an awesome Christmas tradition here at Ramsey. We do the Ramsey Christmas Cash Giveaway. Yep, all month long, all the way up until Christmas, you can enter to win one of our weekly $500 prizes or the $5,000 grand prize. Go to RamseySolutions.com/giveaway. You can enter every day to increase your chances to win. Of course, no purchase necessary, and of course, you got to be 18 to win. That's RamseySolutions.com/giveaway. And good news for your Christmas budget, the $10 sale is back. Yep, inflation did not get us. Not yet. If you're crushing your goals and changing your family tree, this is a great time to share your experience and gift the total money makeover to a friend. This is our biggest $10 sale yet. Some of the new titles include Baby Steps Millionaires, Ken Coleman's From Paycheck to Purpose, and Questions for Humans conversation cards from Dr. John Deloney. Something for everybody. Everybody on the Christmas list. Make a list, check it twice. Could be $10. Check it out. RamseySolutions.com.
We're like the Costco hot dogs. Our prices aren't going up.
Oh, there you go. We're in the big time.
We're in the
right
big
there,
time.
right there with the Costco hot dogs. If you're there, you're in tall cotton. I'm just saying. All right. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. Riquette is with us. Riquette is in Phoenix. Hey, Riquette, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So, Dave, I have a question for you. I am debt-free. I listened to your book, followed the instructions, and I have become debt-free. That means my cars, to the loans, the whole shebang.
Way to go, kiddo.
Income. Yes, debt-to-income ratio is 0. I owe nobody nothing. But my dilemma is now I feel like I probably missed the race of me purchasing a home. Like this will be like my first time ever purchasing a home. And so my question to you, Dave, is I know interest rates are up, prices are somewhat going down for homes. Should I buy? Like, what should I do? Because I mean, I don't know what I should do right now. I want to buy a home. I feel like I'm ready to buy a home. My credit score is 810. My debt-to-income ratio is 0. And
why would you not
I'm
buy?
ready to purchase.
Why would you not buy?
Because everybody is saying that the interest rates are, the housing prices are too high, which means my mortgage would be too much.
Have you noticed that everybody is stupid? Have you noticed that yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's in debt, not Riquette.
Very true.
Do you have a down payment saved up?
I have about total my savings, I have about $50,000 completely saved.
Okay.
That's not including my pension. I work for the state, a government job. So I've been here for 5 years.
Yeah.
So
if you leave your emergency fund out of that and you put the rest of it down, and you can do a 15-year fixed where the payment's no more than a fourth of your take-home pay, then I wouldn't hesitate to tell you to buy. Your Phoenix market had shot up and has adjusted down. It is one of a handful of markets that have adjusted down. The rest of them have just slowed their growth rate. But you're not going to see a market like 2008 where Phoenix prices go down substantially. You're just not going to see it. There's too much demand.
Okay.
And if you buy with high interest rates and interest rates go down, what do?
Refinance?
Ding, ding, you get the prize.
And I think it's just important that you still get a house that you can afford. I feel like a lot of people in this market assume, if they are going to go in, then they got to go push up their monthly payment a little bit more or something like that. But still look at a house that, brings your monthly payment to a quarter of your take-home pay or below. Make sure you're still reasonable and thoughtful as you go through it, because I think the fear can do both things. It can make you either stay out of the market or go a little crazy and try to justify some purchase that you shouldn't make. We've had several people call in and say, we got a house, but, the market's so crazy. And we look at the numbers and it's 40% of their take-home pay. Don't do that. Still be reasonable, still use wise decision-making in it. But if you have, no debt, if you have a down payment and you're ready to buy and you find a house you can afford, then still go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a really good point. Just because people in Washington are stupid, just because they've gone crazy, just because inflation's gone crazy, doesn't mean you need to go crazy. because guess what? They're still going to be crazy while you're being broke because you did something stupid. So don't just go, oh, well, I don't have to worry about math anymore because there's inflation. Math doesn't count this year. We get a year off from math. No, you get math in California, in Manhattan, and in Nashville. You get math everywhere you go. And math is going to kick your butt when you buy something you can't afford. And you used all of your emotions to justify it. Christina's exactly right. This is the deal. All right, Penelope is with us in Little Rock. Hi, Penelope. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Thanks so much. I am on the step 7. I paid off my house sort of mid-September of last year.
Mm-hmm.
But my credit score has not gone to 0. It's hovering in sort of the 647 area, and I'm obviously excited for it to go to 0. I was wondering, should it be there by now, or is there something else I could do to make it go to 0?
Well, it doesn't matter because you're not going to be borrowing money, but it's just something we want to see happen here. I don't disagree with you. So the deal that what we understand, now listen, FICO, they run their deal and they keep their algorithm, they keep their formula under lock and key. Mm-hmm. So no one knows for sure. But all we've been able to do is observe Ramsey followers that when they have 100% of their accounts closed down, 0 balance, no activity, no outstanding bad credit, nothing on the bureau. Mm-hmm. It's squeaky clean when you pull up all 3 of your credit bureau reports. You go to Experian, you go to everybody, you look at every one of them, and you make sure there's not a single thing showing up, not any $8 water bill from 8 years ago that you forgot was on there. That'll keep it down there at $600. You know, it's got you got to have
all clean.
100% clean. Usually in six months to 9 months, it's gone if you're 100%. 0 balances, no activity on the account.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I've had some soft inquiries from, like insurance companies and, just stuff like that. But other than that, all closed accounts and, no activity.
You can put marketing blocks on and keep the soft inquiries down. But you haven't had any hard inquiries where you applied for something, even a cell phone or anything like that.
Nope, nothing like that.
Yeah. Well,
okay. Well,
what we usually find when it's taking much longer than 6 months is that somebody's got something open on there of some kind. That's what you want to go back and triple check that and check it with all 3 of them, all 3 of the credit bureaus, and not just one and not just Credit Karma. Okay, so get in there, and if you're really concerned about this, and you are enough to call here, so you got to do that. But 0 activity should for 6 months, and no accounts open, there's no credit history there to score, should get you to an indeterminable or a 0 credit score, which I've had for well over 30 years. That's kind of fun.
That's a fun stat. Hey, I have a question. So if somebody's in baby step 2, they paid off all their debt, then they go to baby step 3, they stack up the cash for an emergency fund pretty quickly, and then they want to buy a house, they're somehow able to get the down payment pretty quickly. If their score is kind of going down in that period of time, can they still get manual underwriting, or do they need to wait till it goes to 0?
Well, it won't go to 0. Well, if they don't currently have a house, it would go to 0. Yeah, you're probably going to have to. I mean, you can't. It's going to be tough to land one if you got a 500 or a 600 score. It's going to be hard to do manual underwriting around that because that score's still sitting there. It's still real. So yeah, you've got to wait for it to become indeterminable.
But typically it's 6.
But typically
months.
It takes 6 to 9 months to get your down payment together.
Right.
After baby step 2 is completed anyway. So you don't own a home, you have 0 activity of any kind, 0 accounts of any kind open, no outstanding anything, old or new, nothing on there that's moving, because anything that moves will bump that number.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, and it's pretty sensitive, we do know that. This is The Ramsey Show. If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular, and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. Nick and Brittney are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Welcome, welcome. Where do y'all live?
Dalton, Georgia.
Oh, just down the road. Welcome
Yes.
to Nashville. How much debt have you paid off?
We paid off $123,544 in 28 months.
Excellent. Ooh. And your range of income during that 2.5 years?
Peak was about 190. We're about down to 130 now. Low was about 90,000.
Oh, so 90 to 130.
90 to 190. We're about 130 now. So.
Oh, okay. All right. 90 to 190 to 30. Well, goodness gracious. What do y'all do for a living?
I'm a speech language pathologist. So when we started, I worked in the school systems, and I switched over, and now I work in home health.
Oh, okay.
I'm a nurse.
Okay, cool.
Yes,
so
sir.
both of you could work all you wanted to lately.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is like a COVID thing. It happened right in the middle of COVID, huh?
It did.
Yes.
Wow, or right around that time is when you got started. What kind of debt was the 124?
So student loans and a car payment.
Ah, normal, huh?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
yeah.
How long y'all been married?
We just celebrated our 4th anniversary.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So a couple years into marriage, you're looking down the barrel of COVID, or whether you knew it or not, and you look up and you say, we have too much debt. Tell me the story. What happened? What got you started on this Ramsey stuff?
So I actually bought your book several years ago, but it was my husband. He read it on our honeymoon, actually, laying on the beach in Hawaii.
Romantic.
But it wasn't until March 2020 he really started. We had our first in December of 2019, and so I think the financial worry hit him, and so he was like, we got to get this done. And then when they shut off interest for student loans, we were like, this is the best time to do it. They're not gaining interest, so we just hit the ground running. And
Now, March of 2020, this is when the world shut down.
oh
It
yeah,
was.
yeah,
So this is the time you choose to attack this.
yeah.
Lived at work for the next several months, but it paid off. We were kind of Dave-ish, I would say, honestly, for close to the first year. My grandmother really just out of nowhere asked, she kind of saw what we were doing. She asked about how much I had left on my student loans. We had paid off about 20 on mine so far, had about 20 left. I woke up one day and my balance was zero. So, she paid off
Sneaky
20
grandma.
20 grand. So that really kind of just kick-started us even more, just to really get it more focused and more intentional.
And I'll even say I wasn't really on board with the whole Dave Ramsey thing. I'm a spender. I love to travel. We lived 3 hours from Disney, so I wanted to go to Disney like every chance we got. So when he came to me and was like, let's do this, I was like, oh, we're fine. Like, everybody has debt. But then when his grandmother paid off his debt and I realized we only had my student loans in the car, it became more realistic. So we had a goal to do it in 4 years by the time we were 30, and we did it in 28 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. So there's a lot of spenders listening right now who are in the same boat, right? They're resistant. They don't want to right now. They want to go to Disney. They want to travel.
Yeah.
What would you tell them to encourage them to just get started?
It's worth it. Through the whole thing, he kept quoting, we have to live like no one else, so later we can live like no one else. And that was I hated that quote. I can't tell you how many times that was spoken to me because I live 10 minutes from Target, 10 minutes from TJ Maxx, and that's all I wanted to do. I got married. I wanted to decorate my home. I had my first baby. I wanted to buy all the things for him. But in reality, I was like, I want to be able to take them to Disney when they're older, when it's more meaningful for them, and I don't want to have to worry about the payments or the car payments. And so I was like, okay, if we can do this, if by the time we're 30, then, we'll have more time afterwards to do all the things if we just buckle down and do it now. So
I think is it Ken Coleman that says do what you got to do so then you can do what you want to do?
Yep.
Yeah, so that kept coming out over and over again.
Yeah.
So how does it feel now? After all the sacrifice, all the work, how does it feel?
Amazing. We actually went to Disney in September.
No.
That's how we
Worth
celebrated. But he sold his plasma to pay for the trip. So we still didn't put money aside for Disney. He was like, we're not slowing down. We need our emergency fund. So that's how we paid for our Disney trip.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It was worth it. I'd do it again.
Wow. Way to go, you guys.
Yeah.
Very cool. What do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
I'd say realize you're a team. You're both trying to pull in the same direction.
Yeah.
It's so easy just to get caught up in the selfishness every day. I want this, I want that. I think this would be best for us, when in reality we got married and we became one. And it's just, hey, we're both pulling the same direction. Try to get on the same page and really just get going.
Yeah.
And I think it's important too to have your why. If you don't know why you're doing it, then you kind of get lost and you don't pay it off with as much intensity. We wanted to be able to travel. Now that we have two, we wanted to be able to travel and see family that had moved away, and we really just wanted the freedom to go and do and not have those student loans or the car payments. So we actually got down to about our last $10,000 this summer and sold the car that we had just paid off in May.
Oh.
And walked away with money so we could get out of debt faster.
Yeah, just be done with it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Drive a stake in its heart.
Yeah.
That's it.
I like it. Well done, you guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Shall we ever go back in debt?
No.
Absolutely not.
Both of you. Not even for Disney.
No.
No.
We'll wait a little while.
Who are your biggest cheerleaders?
I would say our family, and then, just each other. There were days when I remember, he was very addicted to Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey became almost like a curse word in our house. And I just remember looking at him before I got on board, and I was just like, this is too much. We talked about finances. Every time we got in the car, he wanted to turn the Ramsey Show on. But then once I got on board, we really just became a team. And, because everybody would say, well, just take the trip. You're in your 20s, just take the trip. You won't regret it. I'm like, maybe, but I may regret, the $10,000 that I added onto my debt. And now, we're 28 years old and we can take the trip if we want to.
Anywhere you want to go.
Exactly.
Don't have a payment in the world. Well done, you guys. Very proud of you. Hey, we got a copy of Total Money Makeover for you to give away to somebody and get them started. And Baby Steps Millionaires, our latest #1 bestseller, which is definitely the next chapter in you guys' story. You're going to be there before you know it on that.
Yes.
And literally living like no one else. There it is again. And Financial Peace University 1-year membership. If you want to go through it, that's fine. Or give it to somebody. Either way, it's the Live and Give bundle. We'll give it to you at the commercial break here, but congratulations. All right, let's bring the kiddos up and introduce them. What are their names and ages?
We have Jackson, he's 2, and then we have Caden, who is 11 months old.
All right, way to go, big guys. I love it. Yeah. Well, that's a family tree right there that's changed by mom and dad being grown-ups and delaying pleasure to win. Very, very well done, you guys. Nick and Brittney from Dalton, Georgia, $124,000 paid off in 28 months, making $90 to $190 to $130. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
Ready to scream?
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free! Yay! This is how it's done.
Dave,
So-
you were a curse word in their house for a while. Now they like you.
Well,
Now they love you.
It comes and goes. It comes and goes. I'm a mixed blessing. That's what I am. But it's a spiritual gift. But yeah, I think there's a lot of lessons in that for listeners in the importance of spouses working together, and the importance of listening to each other, and the importance of not over clubbing someone over the head with our stuff. Because if he'd done that just a little bit more, this wouldn't have worked at all. I mean, he went to the edge on a little too much Dave there, a little too much Ramsey there in that mix. But it worked out, and they both got on board. They both got unified, and that's the trick. The unity is a big, big deal. This is the Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis Ramsey, personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. So Christina, Deloney and I were talking about this the other day. There's several pieces of research out there that talk about that married people who are married versus single or versus shacking up, have a financial advantage. And the researchers have always called it the marriage advantage. That they tend to build more wealth than any other category, and also tend to move as a category. It's a generalization, but I mean, in other words, there's exceptions within each category. But they also tend to move faster in their incomes and their careers. And researchers have long tried to figure out what is causing that exactly, but they call it the marriage advantage. That it's to your advantage statistically, as far as wealth goes, income and wealth in general, to be married. Wall Street Journal comes out today with yet another study. Moving in together doesn't match the financial benefits of marriage, but why? A walk down the aisle can be a route to greater wealth and prosperity for couples in the U.S. Married people have higher net worths and are more likely to be homeowners than their unmarried counterparts their age. As of 2019, the median net worth for cohabitating shacking up couples age 25 to 34 was $17,000, a quarter of that of $68,000 that married couples of exactly the same age range. So 25% the net worth of a married couple on average. According to data from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, for singles it's $7,300. Over the past 2 decades, Americans are moving in together at higher rates, and the share of U.S. adults who are currently married steadily declined from close to 60% in the 90s to under half in 2019, according to Pew, who did the research. Over the same period, the share of adults 18 to 44 living with a partner climbed to 59%. Many young couples now approach marriage as a capstone event. The sociology professor says, if you build an ark, the kind of cornerstone, blah, 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 blah. While there are legal and tax advantages to marriage, research suggests the financial security and long-term mindset of those who tie the knot may also be a powerful driver of wealth. More married couples pool their money, such as sharing savings accounts and investing together to achieve certain goals. Cohabitating couples are less likely to combine finances and investments. Working with 2 incomes and combining their investments to maximize compound interest can significantly increase a couple's financial prospects, the research shows. Simply put, married people may be more likely to be on the same page financially. And housing is one of the biggest factors in establishing a couple's wealth compared with single people and cohabitating couples. Married couples hold a larger concentration of housing wealth. They're more likely to own a home if you're married than you are if you're with a roommate. Socioeconomic factors play a role in the difference between married and partner wealth. The higher your income, the likelier it is you'll marry. Well, that would affect these numbers. And, that'd be a cause and effect issue right there. Which one's causation and which one's correlation at that point. But, this is fresh data in showing the advantages of marriage.
And I think the couple that just did the debt-free scream, they're a perfect example of this data and how it can be effective. I mean, in their story, they're talking about how they got on the same page. They set goals. They set a why, and they really learned to work together. I think a lot of people who are just cohabitating, they're not having those conversations. They're not getting into, shared goals and a shared mindset of really attacking their finances.
Well, what we do know, and this is fairly easy to extrapolate into this conversation with reasonable certainty, is that there is a direct correlation between the length of your planning window, how far out into the future you look with money, and how much money you have. If you think, thank God it's Friday, oh God it's Monday, and you live for the weekend, you're Huey Lewis in the News, right? Then you're going to be broke your whole life, YOLO, right? That's where you're going to be. You're not going to have any money because you don't plan past Friday night. You're just trying to drink your face off on the weekend and forget it, and you're not planning. But when we interview wealthy people, the wealthier they are, the longer their planning window has been for many years, and that's what caused them to be wealthy. In other words, when they get ready to buy a car, they don't think about this weekend, they don't think about this year. They think about 5 years from now, how's this car purchase going to affect me? And when you think longer term, you automatically will invest more because you're thinking long term. You're believing there is a future. And I know my future self needs to like my current self, but future self doesn't talk to a present self with the broker somebody is. And the more likely they are to be broke. So if you want to go from broke to wealthy, the point is change your planning window mindset. Quit living for the weekend and start thinking, okay, in 50 years, where do I want to be? I want to change my family tree. How about in 150 years? What do I want my great-grandkids to be? Let's look at compound interest out 150 years and play with some numbers. That will blow your freaking mind, by the way, how many hundreds of millions of dollars that can become. You can be old man Rockefeller, old man Vanderbilt. Old lady Vanderbilt, whatever, get this thing started. So that planning window thing comes in there. So that comes into then this discussion of marriage. As if you're married, unless you are planning to divorce right now, you are thinking you're going to do life 50 years from now with this person.
Right, yeah.
And when you're cohabitating, you're thinking, maybe. Maybe.
There's a chance there's
It's not exactly sure. And it shortens your planning window when you're shacked instead of married. And so that's one of the things that I've always thought it gives you the marriage advantage, because very few cohabitating couples think what's life going to be like in 40 years.
Right. Well, I think it's interesting. This article says that a lot of people see it as a cornerstone event. So what this means is that people see an economic bar they need to clear before they get married. Couples wait until they have good jobs, a car that won't break down, maybe even a house, then they get married, which I think is interesting because it's like they're trying to do something in order to get themselves ahead.
It'd be a lot easier if they were married.
But they're actually holding themselves back.
Yeah. Yep.
That's interesting that the data shows that.
Yep.
So if you're in that boat and you're feeling, hesitant to get married because you feel like you have to meet a certain barometer, you need to have a certain amount of your debt paid off, you feel like you need to have a better job or a house, that actually could be working against you. If you actually find the right partner, if you find someone that you want to be with for the rest of your life, getting married actually could set you on way better footing financially.
And it is not smart to combine your accounts with somebody you're not married to.
Totally.
And there is all kinds of data, including this data here, that says combined accounts have a tendency towards more wealth. Again, it's a unified look at the future. It's a fairly simple concept. If you're not thinking about the future, you're not going to have one.
Right.
If you're not intentional about the future, you're not going to have one. And, I don't care if you're 26 or you're 36, you're shacking up. You're not talking about changing my family tree. That doesn't come up. Otherwise, you would have already gone dun, 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 dun. If you want to change your family tree, you need to have a family to change the tree. I mean, there's not even a tree, not even a family. So, I mean, you're not thinking that way. The inherent in the socioeconomic and the psychology of living together versus marriage is short-term thinking versus long-term thinking. And that will always limit your wealth. So, these guys that call us up here and they go, well, we've been engaged for 10 years. And I'm like, dude, painter, get off the ladder. Really? And they do call us and tell us that. And I've had a few calls over the years that they've been separated but not divorced for 7 years. Oh. And I'm like, why? Well, I don't want to get divorced. Well, you are divorced. You just hadn't admitted it yet. Oh my gosh.
That is not a good long-term strategy.
Yeah, so you have, where there is no vision, the people perish. If you think long-term, and you think long-term with your partner called marriage, you have a much higher statistical probability of building wealth. And therefore, if you don't do that on purpose, then you have no right to whine about having not built wealth. It's not anybody's fault but yours. Ding, ding, the marriage advantage. This is the Ramsey Show.
Have you been inspired to make a change with your money? Want to know where to start? Take our 3-minute money quiz to get a plan you can follow. Go to RamseySolutions.com and search for Get Started to get a plan for your money.
From the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, it's the Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We help people build wealth, do work they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Christina Ellis, #1 best-selling author, Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. We invite you to join us. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Jacqueline in Phoenix is going to start off this hour. Hey, Jacqueline, what's up?
Hi, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So I'm curious if I'm on baby step 2 or baby step 6. My husband and I had saved for a house, and we had a down payment. And while looking for a mortgage, my grandmother offered to let me borrow from my trust fund. And the expectation was that I would pay it back because she doesn't want me to have my trust fund until after she passes. And so I've been tackling the debt like it's baby step 2, and my husband thinks maybe we should just chill out a little and tackle it like baby step 6.
You said you had a down payment for the house previously. Is that correct? What was that down payment?
40%.
You had 40% down payment, and then you borrowed from Grandma?
Yes.
Okay. How much did you borrow from her?
$230,000.
Was that the rest of the house?
Yes.
Okay.
So you owe your trust fund for your home?
Yes.
It's a bad baby step 6.
Okay.
Okay. So, how much is in this trust fund?
I don't know exactly, but definitely at least $500,000.
Still, after you took $200 out?
Yes.
Okay. So the trust fund was left from who to you?
My grandma is leaving it to me.
Leaving it to you. So she's already, she put the money in there while she's alive for you, her granddaughter, $750,000.
Yes.
And then she agreed to loan the money from the trust fund to you. What happens if you don't pay it? Legally. Legally.
Oh, I was told that I would just get the balance of what's in the trust fund. So I wouldn't owe the trust fund any money. I would just get whatever's left.
So you did not legally do a lien on the house where the trust fund that is yours could actually foreclose on you. You didn't file a mortgage at the courthouse?
No.
Were there any paperwork signed?
Yeah.
There was paperwork signed?
Yes.
On the loan?
It's more like just a document between my grandmother, me, and a lawyer.
I'm sorry. Say that again?
It's just a document between me and my grandmother that I would.
And the
just pay back
document states that you're to repay this at a certain rate?
Yeah, it's just paying a certain dollar amount every month until it's paid back, or until she passes.
Is there interest on that?
No, that's an interest-free loan.
Okay.
I'm curious, what is Grandma's reasoning for not giving you the money versus lending it? Does she have?
Yeah, which is what she should have done.
She just doesn't want me to have access to it until after she passes, for some reason.
But she gave you access to it.
Yes, she did.
She's talking out of both sides of her mouth.
I guess she doesn't want my cousins and siblings to also have access to theirs.
Ah, she didn't want to set a precedent.
Yes.
That the others go, well, you did that for Jacqueline. Oh,
Exactly.
yeah. Now that makes a little more sense. I was getting ready to get after Grandma here for a second. Well, it's baby step 6 for sure, to answer your original question. It's not 2. It's a home mortgage. It's just a weird home mortgage. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. So there's no question about what this is for, what the money went to, why you have $200,000 in debt. It's all about this house. And if you were to sell the house, you would pay off the mortgage. If you were to refinance the house, you'd pay off the mortgage, which would be repaying the trust fund that someday will be yours anyway.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to get tacky. Are you okay with that?
Me?
How old's your grandmother?
I was going to ask the same thing.
Like early 70s, 72, 73 maybe.
Or early 70s?
Yeah.
Okay. How's her health?
She's great.
Okay.
We love her.
So
She's
this
good.
is going to go a while.
Well, actually, I mean, we've been tackling it like it's baby step 2, so I only have 3 more years left on it. But I was just wondering, like, if I were to go back to the agreed upon amount, I could, I mean, it would take it like 4 years, but I was just wondering.
I would do the agreed upon amount for 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, because baby step 2 is gazelle intensity. Baby step 6 is you move from intensity to intentionality. And what I would tell you there is put 15% of your income away to retirement. In baby step 4, save money for your kids' college. And baby step 5, and any money you can get out of your budget beyond that is extra payments on the mortgage. That's a normal baby steps answer. And I'm going to apply it in this baby steps answer. And I'm going to apply it in this weird situation.
Okay. Yeah, we've never had debt because we grew up on the Ramsey plan. Like, our parents gave us your books as we were kids. So we've never had debt. So we freaked out when we suddenly had debt.
Yeah. How old are you guys?
33 and 34.
Okay. Yeah. So are you putting 15% away in retirement?
Yes.
Okay. So you were already treating it like, and then above that, you're paying more than your normal agreed payment.
Yeah, and then we both have second jobs.
Okay. I might back off on the intensity, have a reasonable life, and pay the regular payment and what you can above that with having a reasonable life, an intentional life, and then get rid of this. Wow.
Yeah.
There's only one thing keeping me from saying Grandma made a mistake here, and that's the precedent with the other cousins.
Yeah, maybe she's got a crazy cousin.
She does have, well, no, I mean, she does have a point there. But see, the difference in me, though, is this. We told our kids fair is where cotton candy and the tilt-a-whirl are. Fair is it's my money. I decide what I want to do with it. That's fair. And so if I want to give your brother more, I'll give your brother more. It's my money. And so if your cousin called up and said, if I was your grandmother, I would do away with this loan because I think it's weird, it's icky, it's strange. The borrower's slave to the lender. I got a weird feeling in my stomach talking to you about it. I don't like it. So I would pay it off and reduce your amount. And if the cousins come around and go, no, I just did that for her. I'm not doing it for you. And by the way, it's free money, so you don't get a vote. My money. You can just say no. No's a complete sentence. And fair is where there's cotton candy in the tilt-a-whirl. It's not fair. Well, it's my money. Go visit the fair. It's not socialism. It's capitalism. This is the Ramsey Show. Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information. You probably heard there's inflation, stagnation, recession, stock market's falling. We're gonna die. All right, everybody, calm down. If you're investing, and this is not the time to panic, you got to stay level-headed. Listen, no one gets hurt on a roller coaster ride except those that jump off in the middle. So history shows us that the economy recovers time and time again. Happened even after the Great Depression, even after 9/11, and even after 2008. Actually, a great time to invest when you consider that it's coming back up. You're catching it while it's down. It's on sale. And who doesn't love a good deal? But you got to be smart about investing. You got to have someone who can guide you through all of this. And if you need help finding an investing pro, check out our SmartVestor program. It's an easy way to find pros who truly serve with excellence. They'll be there to help you figure out what's best for you and stay focused on your long-term goals. To get connected with up to 5 SmartVestor pros in your area so you can pick the one you want, go to RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor. And you can talk with the pros, pick the one you want to work with, and make an easy investing plan that you feel confident about. Because with the heart of a teacher, they'll sit down and lead you the same way we would. It's what we do here. Emily's with us in Youngstown, Ohio. Hi, Emily. How are you?
Good. How are you? Good to talk to you.
You too. How can we help?
Okay, so my short question is I am a stay-at-home mom and looking for advice as to whether or not I should look for some sort of income or go back to work, full-time or part-time, or stay at home with the kids. We have been following your baby steps for like 4 years. We kind of have been working to this point. We have 2 little kids. We paid off all of our debt. We saved up for a 20% down payment on a house. And I think we weren't as prepared for me to cut my salary as we thought we were. And we're struggling kind of to make the budget every month now that we've moved to one salary. And, we've been having a lot of conversations like, should my husband look for an increase in his line of work? Should I look for something part-time?
How much is your house payment?
Our house payment is $966.
What's your husband's take-home pay a month?
His take-home pay a month is $2,900.
So your house payment's 1/3 of your take-home pay.
Yes.
And how many kids you got?
2.
Okay. How old are they?
3 and 8 months.
Okay. And so he makes $48,000 a year?
Well, okay, maybe I should have specified that. So it's a variable pay, so there are like months that's the
What's his annual income? What's
months.
his annual income?
67.
Okay, that's not 2,900.
So some months he gets more. Does that make sense? Like part of it is it's a variable pay, so part of it is the same and part of it is a little bit of like a commission sort of.
Oh, I see.
So some months.
So the 2,900 is the salary only.
More. Yes, that's correct.
So that's not your real income. Your real income is $67,000 minus taxes.
Correct.
Yeah.
What does he do?
He is a Salesforce technician, so he works like IT kind of stuff.
Okay.
Okay. And when did you all make the transition from 2 incomes to 1?
4 months ago. I'm a teacher, so at the end of I was a teacher, so at the end of last school year I sent in my resignation.
Okay. So did y'all buy the house before you left your job?
Yes, we did.
Okay. I'm kind of wondering, so have y'all done the math on about how much more you would need per month to comfortably cover your bills?
Yeah, I mean, I think between the kids it'd be about 500 is kind of what we were thinking, 500 to 700 to be really comfortable.
I think you're debt-free and you have a $900 house payment with $67,000 income. I think you've had some other lifestyle things that you need to take out. But this is a doable budget without you working if you want it to be. If you want to work to buy some luxury items or to eat out more often, then you can. That's up to you. But do you have to survive? Not with the numbers you gave me. You have no payments but a house payment. Your house payment's $900, and you make a $67,000 income. I don't think you're budgeting well. I think your budgets are loose, and you've not written them down in detail, and the two of you pinky swear and spit shake, by God, we're sticking to what's on this paper. I don't think you're doing that.
Well, and I do wonder if there's...
That's fair.
I do wonder if there's also like a middle ground where you mentioned, do you take a job out of the house? And I'm assuming maybe you're thinking, an official part-time job or an official full-time job. But with $500 to $700 is the gap, and as a former teacher, you could make quite a bit tutoring and really work around your kid's schedule and just have a lot of flexibility. So it's like if you don't want to buckle down on that budget quite as tight, or you want to eat out, or you want to get, extra clothes or something like that, and that's just a lifestyle choice you want to make.
Let's clarify emotionally, though, what we're doing here, okay? You can live and invest for retirement on $67,000 with a $900 house payment. You can do it. If you tighten your budget and you watch what you're doing, and the two of you write it down and the two of you stick to it, you can do that. Now, if you want to do some things above that and you're willing to work for those things, that's fine. But you're not allowed to say, I had to go pick up a part-time job because we just couldn't make it on my husband's income. No, that's not true. You can't say that because you can make it on your husband's income if that's what you want to do. But if you want to do some, I'm fine with you doing some tutoring, but we can't say it's because we couldn't make it. You can make it.
True. Well, and she even admitted that she's been a little loosey-goosey on the budget.
No question. I can do that budget in my head. It's there. So, hey, folks, if you like this show, help us out 3 ways. 1, if you're listening on podcast or YouTube, subscribe. Leave a review, a 5-star review. We don't need any 1-star reviews. Thank you. They're not helpful. Your mama used to say, if you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all.
Amen.
Good rule for you people on the internet. And all of you, radio or podcast or YouTube, tell somebody about it. Share it with a friend. If you have the ability to share a link, share a link. A link to your local talk radio station that carries our show. Thank you for that. But spread the word for us, whatever. So subscribe, review, and share. This is the rule. And that's how you can help us if we've helped you. See, we don't charge you for this. It's free. So that's your bill right there. I just sent you a bill. You got to help us out.
Well, and a lot of you have friends that are drowning. Like, money has been taboo for so long, and a lot of people are afraid to talk about it. But a lot of people in your circle are staying up at night stressed out about finances, and you can be that person who brings them hope and brings them life change.
Yeah, you don't have to tell them it's about money. You just tell them it's funny. You can lie.
Hey, we try.
Well, the weird thing was when we very first started on the air 30 years ago, we were so country fried, it was awful. It was like, you're listening to the money game. It was bad. It sounded like we were broadcasting from a double wide. And you know what? But the information was remarkably the same. And people started spreading the word. And that's how we're here 30 years later. People telling people, telling their friends, you have to listen to the show. You got to check this out. You got to check this out.
You can't argue with life change, even if it comes from a redneck.
Yep. There you go. So, what'd you just call me? Yeah, I know. It is what it is. But there's a thing going around YouTube. Did you see that thing, me on a Christian TV show, like when I was 30?
I saw that.
And the comments are all like, God, he's so country, and he's so kind and gentle. I've kind of lost my. I just don't suffer fools like I used to, but. Another thing is he says the exact same thing.
30 years later.
That's true. I do say the exact same thing I did when I was 30. No question about it. This is the Ramsey Show.
Still on baby step number 1, huh?
How'd you guess?
With healthcare costs rising, learn how Christian Healthcare Ministries can help you make the most out of your budget. Visit chministries.org/budget.
Don't worry, it's worth it.
Christina Ellis, #1 best-selling author and Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Nick and Susan are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Better than we deserve. Where do y'all live?
Milford, New Hampshire.
Oh, wow. Nice haul down to Nashville.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Very cool. And here to do a debt-free scream, how much did you pay off?
$57,000.
Good for you. And how long did this take?
44 months.
Cool. And your range of income during that time?
About 74 to 80 with side hustles.
Cool. What kind of side hustles did you do?
A lot of overtime. We worked holidays. I sold at consignment stores.
Good.
DoorDash.
Yeah, good. What do y'all do for a living?
I'm an LNA.
And I'm a physical therapy assistant.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. What kind of debt was the 57?
So it was student loans, a car, a bunch of credit cards, and a phone.
You were like normal people.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
How long you been married?
4 years.
Okay, cool. And so right after marriage, 44 months ago, you look down and go, this is a mess. We're going to clean it up. Tell me the story. How'd you get about this and start doing the Ramsey stuff?
I actually told her I was going to do this part. So when I first graduated college, the gentleman I was working for handed me your book. And he goes, hey, you're going to want to read this. It'll help you. And that's all he said to me. I was like, oh, cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't really, not to speak ill of him, but he didn't like give me a story of it. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I breezed through, but I didn't get a lot of it. And like a lot of young men, money wasn't really a thing. Like, oh, you're supposed to be in debt. Like, that's just how it's supposed to work.
Right.
So I'm like, yes, I had credit card debt and I had all this other stuff. And then my go-to strategy, which never worked, by the way, is like, oh, when I get my tax return, I'll just pay everything off.
That'll be what saves me. Yeah,
exactly. And every year I'm like, that didn't work. That's weird. But then I got older, and then I also met my future wife, and then we got married, and she took your course without me. She's like, hey, I want to do this with my friend. Do you mind if I go? I'm like, absolutely. Please, have fun. And then she comes back. She's like, hey, you should do this course with me. I'm like, yeah, okay.
You sound like my old boss.
Yeah, exactly. But having some wiser men around me, they're like, hey, if your wife shows interest in something, you probably should too. So after she said that to me, I took it, thought about it for like a day, and I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do this. Let's do the course. I'm going to learn something regardless. And then when I took the course, a lot of it just made a lot of sense. And we had just shortly had our daughter. And going from a young man to having no responsibility other than yourself, like, I kind of did think backwards. I was giving without actually being financially stable. I'm like, oh, you need money for gas? Here you go. Oh, you need food? Here you go. I live in ramen noodles for a month. What do I care? I have children, an entirely different world. My wife was already good with money before I even came into the picture. All of this was her getting me on the same track. So after we took the course and it all made sense, she's like, hey, let's do this. And I said, okay. Of course.
At what point in this whole thing did you remember that this was the same guy in the book that you threw away?
Actually, I didn't realize it until we got to the course and they handed me your book.
Oh, you're like, I used to have one of those. Okay.
Actually, I told her, I'm like, hey, I've got this in storage someplace. She's like, why didn't you read it? I'm like, that's a great question.
It's a fair question.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer for you. But when we were running through the course, one of the things she said to me was like, hey, when we do this, it was never if, it was when, I want to go down and I want to do the scream. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Like they're going to pick us. Like I agreed. But being a man of my word, we finished, we paid off debt, and she's like, hey, I'm going to email them and see if we can do the scream. I'm like, yeah, okay, great. I think it was a day later, I got the full caps text. We got picked. Whew, okay. We're going to Tennessee.
Nashville.
Yeah.
Going to Nashville. I love it. Well, way to go, guys. Very cool.
Yeah, good on you for listening to the wife, and good on you for leading the charge. That is awesome. So, okay, you said you did a lot of side hustles. What did this journey look like for y'all?
Working a lot.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the other thing, too, is right when we decided to do this, just before we started, I literally had a car blow up. So we had to get another car. So that got added into the debt snowball.
You get COVID right in the middle of your deal.
Well, that's just it, too. So she was working a full-time job. COVID hits, and now she has to be a stay-at-home mom / stay-at-home teacher.
Yeah.
So I'm working every holiday I can. Every weekend, she's doing double shifts while I stay home with the kids. Just everything we can do to pay off debt. But
you guys are incredible. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done. How's it feel?
Amazing.
Oh, yeah. It feels really good. And the best part is all the people that we talk to about it, and they're like, oh, yeah, but that actually, you can't really do that, or that doesn't really work. And it's like,
it did.
But we did.
Yeah, but there's us.
Yeah,
what about that? Yeah.
Like, we're actually the proof.
Yeah, that's it. So what do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is, if somebody will actually listen?
Trust the process. Like, it's these steps aren't complicated. It's simple. But following through with it is where the dedication comes in.
44 months, by God. That's a long trek. Yeah. And throw a little COVID in the middle of it. You know.
Just for fun.
Yeah. Just for fun.
But that actually helped us with all the bonuses at our work.
Yeah, because we're both in healthcare, so they just wanted...
Yeah, zoom, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so like
they
at my job...
They wanted you around, for sure. Yeah.
And people were quitting left and right at our jobs because of the health scare. So they're like, hey, we need people. We'll pay you X amount extra if you want to come in.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll be there.
You're like, I'll do this.
Yeah.
So what's next? What's next now that you're debt-free past baby step 2?
Saving for a house.
All right. Good for you.
That's exciting.
Love it. And you brought the kiddos. Bring them up. Tell us their names and ages.
So this is Aria, who's 4.
Just turned 5.
Oh, just turned 5. Excuse me. Typical dad.
And this is Natalie. She's 11.
All right. Very good. Good stuff. Well, we've got a copy of Total Money Makeover for you to give away to someone with a better explanation than you got. And Baby Steps Millionaires, the latest #1 bestseller, because that's the next chapter in your story. We want to hear from you when you become Baby Steps Millionaires. You're on your way. And a 1-year membership to Financial Peace University. And again, you've been through the class, so you'll be able to give that to somebody, and probably got somebody in mind that maybe you can get them going. That'd be great. That's what this is all about. The Live and Give bundle there for you. Congratulations, you guys. We're proud of you. Very well done. Nick and Susan, Natalie and Aria, Milford, New Hampshire. $57,000 paid off in 44 months, making 74 to 80. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt free! Yeah! Woo-hoo! I love it! There is a really good life lesson that is evolving on the debt-free stage in the last few months. Here's the life lesson. You remember when you thought that everything as you knew it, any chance of prospering, any chance of winning, that COVID had stolen it all? You remember how COVID was the worst possible thing, the quarantine, the loss of a job, and we were all freaked out. Some of you were so freaked out that you're still trying to emotionally recover from your freak out. Here's an interesting number for you. Since the quarantine, 82 of our debt-free screams, since the middle of 2020, 82 of our debt-free screams have been that they claim they got out of debt because of COVID, meaning COVID indirectly was a blessing. It caused them to focus. His wife got on board with the baby steps, took an extra job that was COVID related. What got us started? The pandemic scared us to death. When COVID hit, we changed careers. The pandemic changed my outlook on spending. My change in spending habits during COVID. I was able to work more and got a lot of income during COVID. COVID was actually good. Increased his salary. Pandemic made their dream more attainable. Side hustles exploded. Things opened after COVID. When COVID hit, my business went crazy. These are actual phrases from some of the 82 people that said COVID is to blame for their getting out of debt. Isn't that interesting?
That's powerful.
Yeah.
It's like, COVID was like a fire and a lot of people ran away from the fire. These people actually ran towards it and put out the fire.
And got paid well.
Yeah. And changed their family tree in the process.
I mean, listen, it was a valid thing to be afraid. But isn't it interesting that when you look back on the things that you were afraid of, how many times they turn into a blessing? That's the life lesson.
Okay.
And these people here, man, I mean, they were able to work like crazy. Their income went way up because of COVID. And it's a thing to remember. When I think I'm going to die from this, I'm probably just being a drama queen. This is the Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. They have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. That means even if you mismeasure, you pick the wrong color, they'll remake your blinds for free. Free samples, free shipping, and new promos all the time. If you want a great deal, use the promo code Ramsey at Blinds.com.
Today's question comes from Brian in Nebraska. My wife and I live in Nebraska. She's graduating from dental school, and we are expecting our first child in May as well. The only debt we will have is a combined $300,000 in student loan debt once she is done with school, and a mortgage of $180,000 with $40,000 to $60,000 in equity. I currently make $62,000 a year as an architect. She has a job offer in Memphis, Tennessee to teach as a professor for $160,000 or work in Nebraska for $100,000 to $125,000 a year. Do we move to Memphis, Tennessee with a newborn where she can make more money and we can sell the house to put our equity to pay our student loans, or stay in Nebraska to continue paying down debt and have a community that is able to help with the baby? Well, the first thing that struck me is only $300,000 in student loan debt.
We only have $300,000. It's not $500,000. It's only $300,000. Oh my God!
Whew.
Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting to me is She's graduating from dental school, which that seems to be where the debt's coming from, but then she's going to be a professor.
Well, there's a dental college in Memphis.
Okay.
She's going to be teaching dentistry.
But do you think it's better to start out being a dentist and get real-world experience before teaching?
It's obviously not necessary. I mean, how many professors did you have that had real-world experience doing anything except being a professor?
I mean, that seems like the best route. I also just wonder, too, like, if she became an actual dentist, could she make more money and knock that debt out quicker?
He's saying she's got $125,000. Really, first year out, $125 on dentist is about right. I'm a little shocked at how high the professor's score is. That's a pretty score.
160.
Now, and the question is, too, okay, so if you move down there and you don't make at least 62, this is not an upgrade.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got to get a job making 62 or more as an architect in Memphis.
Well, that also seems a little low for an architect, right?
It does, yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of questions on this.
Yeah. So, all right, let's throw some assumptions on there so we can answer it. Let's say that you moved to Memphis and you made 80 as an architect, and she made 160. Okay. And you live there 3 or 4 or 5 years, and you clean up your dadgum mess that you've made. Only $300,000 in debt, right? Did he say how much equity in the
40 to 60 in equity?
Yeah, not much. Okay, so that's not going to move the needle. The big thing that moves the needle is the income difference. Or we change jobs as an architect in Nebraska and make more money, and she gets a better job than she's been offered so far as a dentist and makes 150 in Nebraska. If she can make 150 and he can make 80, and you hate the idea of Memphis instead of Nebraska, then I would stay. And it takes you another, 6 months to a year to get out of debt.
Yeah.
You know, if you do that. But you seem to be underpaid.
Right.
For your, I mean, if you have a 4-year degree in architecture and you're making 62, I got a problem. Okay, period. Let's just say that. Number 2, 125 is a little low, but not super bad for first time out of the gate dentist. That's not bad at all. I kind of think I'm hearing down under that last sentence, have community that's able to help with a baby. Do I move away from everything that I know? My family, my roots, my church?
Well, and another factor to consider is the fact that, like, I don't know what that community is going to do, like how much they're going to help, but there's daycare costs as well. If you move to Memphis, maybe in Nebraska you have a grandma who's planning on taking care of the baby, and in Memphis you're going to have to pay for full-time daycare. So even in that equation, just making sure to factor in childcare costs.
You got to run that in there too. So if you maximized your income in both locations, it sounds like Memphis gets you out of debt a year sooner. No one says you have to live there the rest of your life. It's not required. You could go work there 3 or 4 years and then move back to Nebraska. That would be fine if you hate it. You could look at it as an adventure. You know, it's not a permanent decision forever and ever. I'm in. You could look at it as an adventure and go do that. Like, for instance, these people that are contractors with the military and they go to Dubai for a year and make 6x what they would have made in the States and pay off everything, and they can basically give up a year and they have a little adventure in Dubai and go do it, and or whatever. And there's in the sandbox one way or another, and there's people doing that, and but it's a matter of looking at it. I think I'm going to be away from community and everything that I know has a rest of your life feel to it that isn't required. As far as I know, you can still, they still allow you to leave Memphis once you move there.
True. I mean, but I'm also thinking, like, personally, she is graduating from dental school, so there's going to be a huge life change just in going from being a full-time student to working. And then she just had a baby. She's got a newborn. So even just, man, the first year postpartum, I would not have been super excited about an adventure across country and moving away from family. So there's also just the emotional aspect of, like, what does she really want? Like, what is her capacity? What is she?
We're going to Minneapolis tomorrow night, okay? And I've got friends that grew up in Minneapolis. They were born and bred there. Everything they knew was there. And at 50-something years old, they said, I'm tired of being cold. I'm leaving. And they moved to Nashville. And they live down the street from us. and they're sweet people. They go back to Minneapolis, occasionally see their friends, but they were tired of it. And you may be tired of Nebraska. I don't know.
True.
But it doesn't say that here.
True.
What seems to be between the lines here is you would hate leaving Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason you'd be doing it would be for a little extra money. And I would challenge you instead to go maximize your incomes where you are and stay.
100%.
Yeah, and if it takes you 1 year longer to get out of debt by doing that. But don't stay there and make 62 and 100, which is more than she could have made that much by herself because you two both minimized the crap. If you make 60 and she makes 100, that's 162. She got an opportunity to make 160 by herself in Memphis. That's not okay. So if you're going to stay in Nebraska, you need to go up your game.
Yes.
Somewhat. It doesn't have to be as high as the Memphis. And the Memphis deal does not work at all, dude, if you don't get an architectural job there making more than you make now.
Right. Well, and I'd also be curious about cost of living. Like, it seems like, I mean, I'm not super familiar with Nebraska, but it seems like it'd be cheaper to live there versus in Memphis. But
probably, but Memphis is not that high.
But also just make sure to compare that, because even the equity you have in your house, $40,000 to $60,000, it's not that much money. And so just make sure you compare the cost of living, the cost of daycare, all of that, and factor all that into consideration.
So here's a mistake that people make in their logic on this, and this is the subject in general. Do I move for a job? It's as if they're doing am I doing something wrong if I don't take a job in a place I hate because it pays more? No, you're not. Careers are personal things. Personal finance is first personal, and then it's finance. And so, if you, I'll give you an example. Okay, people told us with the Dave Ramsey show in the old days that it will never be a big radio show if we don't move to LA or New York. And I'm like, I like visiting LA or New York for about 48 hours, and then I'm ready to leave. The chances of me living there is precisely zero. And if that means that the Dave Ramsey show is never a big deal because I refuse to locate in one of those two cities, then it won't be. Now, it turns out that we're the second largest talk radio in America today. So those people that said that didn't know what they were talking about, thank goodness. But I made the choice. Quality of life. Nashville versus those two places? Oh, dadgum, no question.
I'm chuckling a little bit inside trying to picture you living in LA or New York, bringing redneck radio to the big city.
Well, we are broadcasting both of them. Thank you very much.
There you go.
But, matter of fact, highly rated in both of them, so it's working.
You still won. Here we go.
Golly, you and your redneck jokes today. I'm just to come up with some Venezuelan jokes or something here.
Bring it.
Yeah, bring it. This is the Ramsey Show. Dave here. You can find all of our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. It's the only place to listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today. From the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods of Moving and Storage Studios. It's the Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. We help people build wealth, do work they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Ricky is in Rhode Island. Hi, Ricky. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for taking my call. I really appreciate it.
Sure. What's up?
So I was just kind of driving around, and I was thinking about like different things financially, and I was thinking about how I got a whole life insurance policy that was purchased by my parents back in 2001.
I'm sorry.
And so It has like a accumulated value or cash surrender value of $10,811. So I was wondering if it would be financially smart to try to withdraw that and put that in like a money market fund so that it grows a little larger, a little faster.
How old are you?
And so I just wanted to get your opinion. I'm 36.
Okay. You have married, have children?
Single dad, 2 kids.
Okay. You have other life insurance?
I do through my employer. I have term life insurance through my employer.
How much?
So I think it's $75,000, I believe.
What do you make?
Before taxes, $62,000 they have me projected making this year. After taxes and insurances, union dues, all that comes out, I'm a firefighter.
How old are your babies?
My daughter is 10 and my son is 9.
Okay. And how much debt do you have?
I have $10,000 in vehicle debt, $228,000 for a mortgage, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. Are you ill? Are you uninsurable? Can you get insurance?
Yeah, I can get insurance.
Okay. All right. So our recommendation, and then I'll tell you why we recommend that as well, is that someone have 10 times to 12 times their income on them in term life insurance. You may or may not want that much, but let's just say, as an example, you went and got $500,000. At 36 years old, it costs nothing. It's very inexpensive. 15 to 20-year level term insurance. It's the cost of a pizza, okay? Now, if you died, that money could go into a trust in mutual funds and would produce $50,000 a year, $4,000 a month for your children. Okay?
Okay.
And that's really the only people that are dependent upon you that would suffer if due to your death in terms of your income being gone. You follow me?
Right.
Okay. And so the purpose of life insurance is to do that. Now, whole life insurance sucks. That's why I said I'm sorry when you said you had one, because it's 20 times more expensive. In other words, what you can buy for $5 of term, it costs you $100 in whole life. And that extra $95 per 100 is going to build up a cash value inside, which yours has grown to $10,000 after all of these years. And if you die, they pay only the face value. You do not get, your heirs, your beneficiaries, do not get the money that you paid the extra $95 to get. So your face value of your whole life policy is what, $30,000, $40,000?
I'm looking at the
face value.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the policy now. I don't see where it says the face value.
Or just the value.
I just know that the accumulated value right now is $10,000.
No, the accumulated value is your cash value.
And then my death benefit's $100,000.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, your death benefit.
Okay.
That's
all
okay.
right.
So
all right.
you have paid, or your parents have paid, $5 per $100 for the $100,000 policy. They paid $95 into a savings account to create a $10,000 savings account called cash value. When you die, your death benefit is $100,000. It's like a savings account that when you die, the bank keeps your money, which makes it stupid, okay? It's a horrible product. It is the payday lender of the middle class, all right? And if you leave it in there, it's only paying about 1% growth. And until you die, and then they keep it. So it's just ridiculous. So what would I do if I woke up in your shoes? I'd get $500,000 worth of term, and I would cash this crap in, and I'd use the $10,000. Christina?
Yeah, I think it's just wild that
use the $10,000 to pay off the car immediately.
Yes. 100%. I know my eyes kind of lit up whenever I saw you had $10,000 in a car payment, and I was like, "Oh,
isn't that odd?
That's a lovely coincidence.
That's
pretty perfect." But I do think it's kind of crazy too, thinking that this was bought in 2001. And a lot of times these life insurance agents sell this as such a great investment. And this has been around for 21 years and it has just over a $10,000 value. Like, whoo!
Yeah.
Think about that. That's kind of crazy.
If you live to 2,000, you'll be able to retire on this, 2,000 years old, not 2,000. Yeah. I mean, you're 21 years in, and we have proven mathematically just by the discussion of the numbers that it sucks. And so, not to mention the concept sucks. So, yeah, get $500,000 worth of term insurance. Go to xanderinsurance.com, shop around, get you the best quote on that. Put the beneficiary as a trust for your kids. If you were to die while they're still minors, you probably don't want to leave it to the ex and hope she does a good job with it. No, I think that's a bad plan. So just leave it to the kids, and the income off of which can be used for their good in replacement of child support or whatever we want to call it. And then, when they're grown, and if you're still single at that point and you have no one counting on you at all and you want to drop the policy, that's okay. Like, you don't really need car insurance if you don't have a car.
Right. Well, and hopefully, too, following this plan, your assets and your savings will continue to grow so that if you do end up having a significant other and you want to leave them something, you will have real money saved in your bank account.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. For the rest of you listening, the typical scenario is, let's say you're like a 32-year-old couple and you've got 2 little kids. Like, how old are you?
I'm not going to admit that on air.
Well, of course you are.
You can't ask that on air.
You ask me how you make fun of me being 62 every day. So, oh my God. But okay, you're a young couple.
Thank you.
With 2 little kids. I'm going to pretend you're 32. Jeez, I don't even know how old you are. It doesn't matter. But the point being that if something happened to either one, you or your husband today, those kids got to eat from 3 or 4 years old all the way to 18 or 20. So you need life insurance more at that time because you don't have unless you got $1 million in the bank or $1 million in mutual funds, you need life insurance more at that time than you do at any other time.
I'm over 30. I'll give you that.
Whoa. Well, I just had my 32nd anniversary of my 30th birthday. So there.
You go.
This is the Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis, #1 best-selling author and Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. Oh, joining us now and for this segment, one of my favorite people on the planet, Lisa TerKeurst, the president of Proverbs 31, multiple best-selling books, #1, and the new book, Good Boundaries and Good Buys. Woo! And that's like goodbye, like bye-bye. Yeah, you're out of here. Loving others without losing the best of who you are. Lisa, how are you, my friend?
I am so well. Thank you so much for that very generous introduction, Dave.
Well, we appreciate you, all you do, and your friendship all these years. You've done an incredible job with your writing career and your ministry, and we're just honored to have you. Congrats on the new book. So you got into our friend Dr. Henry Cloud's territory here with Boundaries. Did you have fun dancing in that sandbox?
Well, I tried to dance in a little different box, trying to give people this spiritual and biblical confidence to know that boundaries are not just a good idea, they're God's idea, but also I'm speaking from the vantage point of someone who really struggles with boundaries and who has struggled with people pleasing. And so I think people will appreciate my vulnerability and my full admission that I'm writing from my struggle, not my strength, but I've made really good strides, and I think I can help others do that same thing.
When you do decide to set a boundary, and I was reading one of the pages about someone coming into your home and you realized it was a mistake and you had to ask them to leave. When you do decide to set a boundary, that number one, I don't care who you are. If you're a loudmouth like me or a sweet person like you, either one, it doesn't matter. There's still this idea that this may not go well. This may result in rejection. Because generally someone that you have to set a boundary with is not someone who likes boundaries, and so they're probably not. It's probably not going to go well. So it's scary to do it, isn't it?
It is scary. I love what my counselor, Jim Kress, who weighs in throughout the book, says. Healthy people respect healthy boundaries. Unhealthy people have never met a boundary they like. So it can be scary. But here's the thing. If you draw a healthy boundary and someone rejects you or expresses great disappointment in you, then that person is eventually going to reject you or express great disappointment in you. So you do have to make peace with that. But also, you can say what needs to be said in a kind way. I would say the most important thing to remember is that we really shouldn't be putting boundaries on other people. We should draw boundaries around ourselves to keep ourselves sane, stable, and self-controlled. And I think that is going to be a really helpful paradigm shift. When you try to put a boundary on another person, you're in essence trying to control them. And if they're unwilling or incapable of making the changes you want, you're going to be incredibly frustrated and feel like a boundary failure. But when you draw a boundary around yourself, then you're able to stay empowered to do something about the situation you may find yourself in.
That's so good, Lisa. Man, so a lot of relationships, they have ups and downs. How does someone know if a relationship is healthy or unhealthy?
Well, I think there's several factors that you have to consider. And throughout the book, I give checklists to help people become more self-aware. But let me give you a couple of things to consider. If you find yourself needing to diminish the best of who you are to cover up the worst of who someone else is, that's an unhealthy situation. If you find yourself having to normalize or possibly even just normalizing behaviors that shouldn't be normalized and dancing with dysfunction, and other people are pointing it out, but you're wanting to make excuses for it, that's a huge situation. And also, if you find yourself in a situation where you're saying phrases like, I just can't take it anymore, that's a big indication. You see, wherever there's chaos, there's usually a lack of a boundary.
Lisa Turkhurst is our guest this segment. The book, brand new book, her newest #1 bestseller, I'm sure, Good Boundaries and Good Buys. You and I both work in the Christian sector of the world an awful lot, Lisa, and I'm always amazed of the toxic or the dysfunction or the codependency that someone rolls up under being Christian. Like this mislabeling of what Christian is. Like a Christian means doormat or something. It doesn't.
It doesn't. I think there are Bible verses that sometimes are misunderstood and weaponized to make people feel guilty or even to make people drop their boundaries. And I think one of those is, well, didn't Jesus lay down his life for his friends? Yes, Jesus did, and he modeled that for us, and he commanded us to do the same. But Jesus laid down his life to accomplish a high and holy purpose. He did not lay down his life to enable bad behavior to continue.
Yeah, the one I get around here a lot is honor your father and mother. Yeah, Dave, but mom is broke and she's always spent everything she makes, and now she wants $8,000 a month. And, and I'm like, well, okay, if your mom is doing cocaine, we can honor the position of motherhood. That's biblical, but we can't honor the cocaine use. That's, it's,
right.
It's ridiculous. But in the name of Christian, we're just supposed to turn the other way and have absolutely no common sense. And that is not any more biblical than fly to the moon. So fun stuff. I love your new book. I love this. Talk about when it's time to say goodbye.
Well, goodbyes should be taken steps, not leaps, and never make those decisions in a vacuum. It's always good to get wise counsel around you. But look, when you are giving access to someone to your capacity and they are demonstrating zero responsibility, you're not going to be able to control them and make them more responsible. So your choice is to draw a boundary around yourself and reduce the access that you've granted them. For example, in finances, Dave, today you probably won't give out your security passcode to your bank account. Wisely so, right? Because you have limited resources in your bank account and you're wise in being responsible. But if you did give that out, then you run the risk of some people not being responsible. So you only give access to people according to their demonstrated level of responsibility.
And when you've got someone that's just straight up abusive, you don't have a choice but to set it until you can stop this. We're going to have some distance.
So if you've been
right.
If you've been in a relationship with somebody who's been treating you unhealthy, how do you measure change? Once you've set those boundaries, how do you tell that they're changing, and how long should it take?
Well, trust is built time plus believable behavior. So it is going to take time, and you need to be able to see believable behavior. Because remember, the boundaries that you put in place are to keep you sane, safe, stable, and self-controlled. And so when you have enough emotional fortitude to maybe test the waters and they have demonstrated over time believable behavior, then yes, of course, the boundaries can be flexible. But, a big indication is their behavior. You see, we don't want to accuse people of being a certain way just because they make a mistake. That's what grace is for. But if you are seeing patterns of behavior that are unhealthy, that they are unwilling or incapable of changing, then the boundaries must stay in place.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good.
Lisa Turkhurst, very wise, very strong lady, good friend of ours for many years now. Gosh, I was trying to count up before we came on there. It's over a decade now, isn't it, Lisa?
I think so, Dave.
Yeah. Seems like 20 minutes ago, you and I were speaking over at Perry Noble's church, and that's probably been over 10 years ago. Yeah.
I know, but now you're aging us, so let's not do that.
Oh, no. Here we go again. Lisa Turkhurst. The new book is Good Boundaries and Goodbyes. You always want to read everything she writes, and this one is absolutely essential. There's a lot of heart on these pages. I've already seen it. You don't want to miss it. Good stuff. Thank you, my friend. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you. Always a joy, Dave.
This is The Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis, #1 best-selling author, Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. Noah and Lauren are on the debt-free stage. Hey, guys, how are you?
Well, Dave, how are you?
Better than we deserve. Where do y'all live?
Charleston, South Carolina.
Very cool. Great town. All right. How much debt did you pay off?
$645,000.
Oh! How long did this take?
3.5 years.
All right. And your range of income during this time?
There was a range of $100,000 to about $300,000.
Wow. What do y'all do for a living?
I'm a real estate agent and teach group fitness classes part-time on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm an airline pilot and a military pilot as well in the Air Force Reserves.
Wow. So you guys were going hard.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on. Busy family, went crazy. Well, what kind of debt was the 645?
It was all of our house.
You paid off your house. Look at it, weird people. I love it. Love it, you guys. How old are you?
I'm 36.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 40.
All right. With a paid-for house.
Yes, sir.
What's this house worth?
$1.2 million. It's crazy. It's insane how much it appreciated in such a short
Baby steps,
time.
millionaire's house alone. Just with the house, not counting the other stuff.
Yes, sir.
By the time you're not even 40. Wow. Good for you guys. Well done. Well, tell us about your journey. What got you started on all this Ramsey stuff and be baby steps millionaires before you're 40? That's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah. So we got married, and we kind of knew about the principles. We knew about Dave Ramsey, but we didn't really follow it to a T. So what really set us off is when we went through FPU through our church back in South Carolina. Shout out to Rick and Selena who helped us out with that. That's when we really got intentional, and we really started getting down into some gazelle intensity and really cut back on a lot of things and thought, hey, we're going to pay this thing off, and we really went for it. We're both military veterans. Lauren was in the Air Force. I was active duty. And now in the reserves, over 20 years of service. And so one of our things for this, and I saw your show yesterday. I love that you were giving away Financial Peace University to veterans. Hey, we need it. So Lauren and I have a huge heart for military families, military mental health. That's what kind of the next step of our life is going to look like. And so part of this was setting that example for other military folks, and really saying, hey, you can do this. This program is for you. This program works for a military family, and just being there to walk with other military folks through this.
Cool. What church was your FPU in?
Seacoast Church.
Oh, yeah.
Pleasant. Yes, sir.
Surats are good friends.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
Yep.
They're a good family.
Awesome.
Yeah. Wonderful family. Yeah. Well, welcome, guys. This is so cool.
That's so cool and such a powerful story. I love your passion and motivation for, helping military families. It's in the story, it's in the passion that really people experience that life change. So that's just awesome. So what would you tell people is the key? Like, as you're talking to those families, as you have military families listening, what would you tell them?
Yeah, absolutely. Lauren and I came up with 2 words, right? Intentionality and persistence. You got to be intentional. You got to do the work. As the family last hour said, you got to trust the process, right? Trust the process, and then persistence. Part of our story was, we kind of were Dave Ramsey-ish for a long time. You're gonna fail on your budget, right? Your budget's gonna come through, and you're not gonna be where you want to be. You got to get back up. It takes 3 months to get that wired down, and even after that, you're gonna fail. You're gonna fall down. Be the man in the arena, like Teddy Roosevelt says, right? Be the man that falls down, gets dirty, gets back up, and does it again. You got to have that persistence, and those 2 things combined, huge power in that.
Okay, in 3.5 years, you 2 are both high-powered personalities. During that 3.5 years, there had to be at least one really good money fight.
You want to take that one?
I do not want to take that one. No, go ahead.
Is this national? This is national radio show, right?
A, you have to tell the truth. B, you can't throw her under the bus. See, this is the tightrope.
Yeah. So I will say that we had a big project we want to do to the house. I'm like, well, we have a really low interest rate. Let's do the house now. But like he said, when it came down to it, we really wanted just to bear down and focus and stick to the plan, stick to the process. And I'm really glad we did.
So who was stirred up about the remodel? You?
That was me.
That would be you. Okay. Because you're a real estate agent. You're looking at houses all day long, seeing all this cool stuff.
Like, yeah, it's worth this now, but it will be worth even this much more if we do this. Yes.
Yeah, and you're seeing the cool stuff every day. It'll mess you up. I mean, it's like test driving a car. I mean, it's awful.
Very true.
Yeah. Yeah, we went to the Parade of Homes the other day, and my wife is like, I'm like, no, you can't go over there.
Temptation.
Yeah. So there was a little bit of duking out about the remodel now or remodel later.
We're actually, that's the next thing that we are currently.
But I mean, the original back there, that's where the disagreement was.
Yes. Okay. Correct.
See, she saved you.
Yeah.
She pulled you out of the fire, man.
Hey.
That was pretty cool.
She's great.
She owned it. She owned it, and it's perfect. Well done. Touchdown. I like it. You guys are fun, because I could tell, though, that you both are getting it, and that's... There's the gazelle intensity came easy to you because you applied to a lot of areas of your life. You got the military discipline, the physical discipline. You're a trainer. You said you do that. You love doing that on the side, and so there's all of those things come into play with this, and it all applies. It's the same mental muscle that you're using that you use to do this. Man, I'm so proud of y'all. Well done. How did it feel to not have a payment in the world? Did it freak you out when you finally did?
Yeah, it was very weird. I was like, we don't have a mortgage anymore. This is crazy. It still really hasn't sunk in for me, even though we know we did it. We're so proud we did it, but it's very freeing for sure.
Will you ever go back?
No way.
Now we're free.
Yeah. It's
great feeling.
You talk about it all the time. It is it's physically freeing, right, with the income and stuff like that. More than that, much more than that, it's mentally freeing. The switch that you can't really quantify or put into words is just an unbelievable thing. You walk different, you talk different. Your confidence, the way you interact with your kids, with your coworkers, it permeates through all these things. Yeah. It's just fantastic.
Wow, I'm so proud for y'all. Way to go. Good stuff.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
And give my friends, your pastors, a hug when you see them for me.
I will. Yeah.
All right, we got a copy of Total Money Makeover for you to give away. Baby Steps Millionaires, probably give that away since you already are one. Yeah, way to go. And Financial Peace University, you've already been through it. Membership, so you got a lot of give. It's the Live and Give bundle. For you, it's the Give and Give bundle. Let's bring up the kiddos and introduce them. What are their names and ages?
All right, we got Sophia. She's our soccer star. She's 8 years old. We got Gabby, our gymnast, and she is
Sophia's
6.
10. Okay.
Oh, she's 10.
6.
8. How old are you, man? Oh, he's 6. That's Caleb. That's Caleb. He goes by the little fella, and he's 6.
All right.
Hey, you paid off your house. You got your other numbers right.
I knew I should let Lauren do that, right? I should let Lauren do that one. Come on, Dad.
That's fun. Well done, you guys. Well done. We're so proud of you. So proud for you. Live like no one else. Later, you can live and give like no one else. Noah and Lauren, Sophia, Gabby, and Caleb. Charleston, South Carolina. $645,000 paid off. House and everything. House is worth over $1 million. Did it in 3.5 years, making 100 to 300. And Baby Steps Millionaires in the process. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
You
All
guys
right,
ready? Here we go.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free!
I love it! Man, they're impressive.
That was incredible.
Folks, every time you hear someone do the debt-free scream like this, at some point they had a moment where they said, I've had it. And they did that. They said, okay, we were ish, and we went, no, we're done. We make too much money to sit here on a stupid mortgage. We're getting rid of it. You have to control what you can control. You want to do what they did? Go through Financial Peace University. It's the proven step-by-step plan. It is the process that you submit yourself to. Nearly 10 million people have gotten out of debt, learning how to budget, build wealth, be unbelievably generous. Start Financial Peace University at RamseySolutions.com/FPU. RamseySolutions.com/FPU. Seacoast Church that they go to is a wonderful church. We've spoken down there many times and done our events down there and all kinds of things there in Charleston with them. It's a second-generation pastor. Current Surratt generation is the second generation doing it. And they're wonderful, wonderful family, wonderful pastors. And it's a big church, really successful, very well run, very well done. Good stuff, you guys. I love it, I love it, I love it. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, 1 Corinthians 15:58. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. Billie Jean King said, champions keep playing until they get it right. Roderick's with us in Houston, Texas. Hey, Roderick, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave and Christina. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So, my wife and I are on baby step 3, and last year my job promised me a $20,000 bonus if I stayed on. I was supposed to be getting this month, but now I think there's a chance I might be getting fired later this week. So, when I talk to my boss, I'm trying to figure out how do I convince them to still give me the bonus.
Why are you getting fired?
Well, I'm new at the role. The reason I'm getting the bonuses in the first place is because they're laying off part of the department I work in. But instead of laying me off, they gave me a promotion, and I'm coming on too slow. They want me to be a little bit better. I've had a conversation with my boss in August saying that he wasn't happy with my performance. He said I had until October to get better. Just had a conversation with him last week. Still not happy. And now I've got a meeting tomorrow, so I think he might be pulling the trigger on firing me.
I'm sorry. That's scary.
Yeah.
So you're asking how to get them to give you the $20K anyway, even though you didn't work out in the role?
I stayed on so I could get it and finish up baby step 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually was going to leave since they were laying us off.
Mm-hmm.
But they agreed to give me the $20K if I stayed. But if I get fired, obviously I won't get it. So the transition to the new way of doing things, when it's done, is when they owe the money. It was scheduled to be in October, but it's taken longer to get things how they want it, so they've extended that through December. So I would need to stay through the end of December to get the money.
What is the line for when things are done? Like, is it a very clear line, a project-based thing, or is it just kind of something a bit subjective that the bosses have decided?
No, it's whenever the outsource. We're outsourcing the work, so whenever the new company takes over the work, that's when they're going to pay out the bonus. But they have a deadline of December 31st.
Gotcha. Okay. How big a company is this?
A couple billion a year.
Okay. All right. I don't think there's a perfect sentence or three that's going to cause a couple of billion a year company to decide to give you money if they've already decided not to. So I don't think I have that key on my key ring that I could loan to you. What I would do is finish well, and it doesn't sound like, it sounds like they moved you into a role and then did not give you the support to cause you to grow into the role. Instead, just stood you over there on an island, and then they're shocked that the island is sinking. It sounds like leadership's piss poor to me, but I mean, the way you're describing this, if we were confronting you about not performing here, you would have heard a lot more than 2 conversations since August. And we would have been saying, what can we do to come alongside you and teach you to ride this horse? Because apparently you keep falling off of it. And we want to maybe be able to get you on in the saddle and stay there. And we would be talking about that. And then if you just kept falling off anyway, you would have known. It wouldn't be any question. Usually when someone is leaving here, they're positive that the next meeting they're gone, because it's been like a whole bunch of discussion up to that point. So that's what's bothering me about this, and that's what makes me think there's nothing you can really say to these folks. What I always do in any negotiation is, and that's what this is, if he says you're gone, you say, okay, thank you for letting me try this, and I'm sorry that it didn't work out. I gave it my all, but I didn't do it. I'm not really even in disagreement with you. I'm ready to move on. I was ready to move on back then. You guys asked me to stay and offered me $20,000 to stay. And you just retell the story, but it's all, own it. In other words, don't blame them. And then just say, okay, so what do you guys have in mind as severance, given that I stayed because you were going to give me $20,000 extra? Is that in the severance? And they go, oh, yeah, we're going to give you 4 months, and we're going to give you the $20,000. You go, okay, right? And thank you. That's very generous of you. I appreciate that. Or if they say, no, you don't get the $20,000, you would say, well, you promised it to me if I stayed, and I stayed, and I didn't quit. You're asking me to leave. So are you sure that you can't do something about that? And I just ask questions about that. And I've always heard underneath a negotiation, if you just have this, underneath the words you're saying, if you'll have this phrase running in your mind that says, no matter what they say, in your mind you're going, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. And so what I learned to do is never get in a back and forth on the number. So we meet in the middle. I'm going to sell you the car for $20,000. No, it's $24,000. Well, we'll meet in the middle at 22. And when I say 24 and you say 20, I don't say let's meet in the middle. I say that's not good enough. And then I let you squirm.
Right.
And so kind of want you to throw across the tennis ball back across the desk at him and say that's not good enough in some manner of speaking. And that could be, it could sound like, hey, the $20,000 was really promised and I stayed. And I was willing to stay and help you guys get this through. I understand that I didn't do it the way you wanted it done and that you've made a decision, and I'm not questioning your decision, but I stayed. So is there anything we can do with the $20,000? See, that's another way of saying that's not good enough. You follow me? And so, but I think you own it. I don't think you blame anybody. I don't think you are nasty or unkind or like you guys are crooks or something like that, because I don't think they are. I think you're right. I think they have the right to fire you, and they have the right to not pay you this. And depending on the circumstances around here, would we pay that? Maybe, maybe not. It would depend on the circumstances more than we can get to in the radio call here.
So do you think if they don't fire him tomorrow, let's say they just call him in tomorrow and it's just another meeting where they're like, we're disappointed, do you think he should start looking for a new job?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just as that.
Because I got a feeling December 31st, they're all going bye-bye anyway. Yeah. As soon as they get this handed off to the outsource, it sounds like. I think the writing's on the wall. But the other thing is, if they don't fire him, I'd be asking a lot of questions about asking, okay, I get it that I'm not doing this the right way. What can some of you guys come alongside and teach me and show me and model for me, give me some support on this and show me how to do this? Because my job as the leader, when I've got a team member, facing crap, is my job is to take out some of their blockers. And if their blocker is themselves, it's to add some tools to their tool belt. Show them how to do it and sit with them till they do it and walk them through that. And so you can't just go run faster. I don't know how to run. Run faster, but I don't know how to run. Run faster. That doesn't work. It's just and it's like that's not leading. That's corporate America crap. And it sounds like that's what you're dealing with, dude. I'm sorry. Sorry you're facing that. You got to have a little knot in your stomach going in there in the morning. That's kind of scary. But, the interesting thing is when you get home tomorrow night, you'll find out they fired you. They didn't kill you. And your life goes on. That's my point. Your life goes on, and I was getting ready to leave anyway. So the only question is whether I get this $20K. And, we always talk about when you're out of debt and you have your emergency fund and they walk in and go, well, we're going to have to lay you off. And like, oh, good. How much is the severance? I was getting ready to go open a business and kick y'all's butt anyway. So
right. Well,
how much is the severance?
Let's get him a copy of Paycheck to Purpose by Ken Coleman.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I want to hear his voice, be excited when he talks about his job. Because even right now, even if he gets this job, if he continues in this job, it doesn't sound like he's going to love it much.
It's a crummy environment.
Yeah, let's get him something he loves, a job he's passionate about.
Yeah, we'll send you Paycheck to Purpose. Let's get going. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. Thanks to Austin, Ben, Zach, Andrew, and James in the booth dudes. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Have you been inspired to make a change with your money? Want to know where to start? Take our 3-minute money quiz to get a plan you can follow. Go to RamseySolutions.com and search for Get Started to get a plan for your money.